Hey everyone, Tell Stewart here, and welcome to this video. For those who don't know me, I was the main videographer and editor for ThePianoGuys from 2009 to mid-2013, which was pretty much their first 50 videos or so. During that time, through a lot of trial and error, I learned a lot of fun and very useful camera and editing techniques, and I'm going to be making some tutorials and how-to videos based off of those techniques, and I will show you where I use these techniques in the videos that I created. So there's going to be a short series based off of the work that I did for ThePianoGuys, and if you are interested in seeing these, click on the subscribe button. On this channel I do a lot of different things, a lot of different tutorials, and some occasional production videos that I've done. If you want to see those, feel free to subscribe as well. So this first video isn't necessarily a tutorial video, it is a screen recording that I captured while I was editing Cello Wars. This recording that I found is only one day of editing, and this video took me nearly 3 months to edit. This kind of shows you why. Now this is real time right now playing. This is me editing the lightsaber on the Bad Jedi, and as you can see it's taking quite a bit of time right here. With tracking the bow, it went back and forth so many times I literally had to edit it frame by frame. Editing a 3.5 minute video frame by frame nearly 3 times over takes a very long time. So I'm going to go ahead and speed up the video here and go to the next thing, but it's kind of fun to see the time lapse of this whole process happen. Kind of a fun story. After a few days of doing this, it's taken a long time, I asked my wife if she could take her computer and start editing from the back the red lightsaber, and I edited the blue lightsaber from the front, and we met in the middle after a few days. It was really fun. It was a fun bonding moment with my wife. It was the first time I was able to do a video project together with my wife. This kind of shows how I would get the lightsaber to go behind Steve. And the way I did that at first was I physically rotoscoped the mask so that it was obscured by his head. I found a better way of doing it eventually by using the mask created by the green screen and using that as an obstruction layer. And it ended up working a lot better than what this is showing you, but this kind of shows you the alternate way of doing it. So one thing that was challenging about this video was that when we shot the good Steve and the bad Steve, it was separated by about 8 hours of time. And so we weren't able to necessarily match the position of the camera all that well because we had moved the camera a lot in between the good Jedi and the bad Jedi. And so here you can see an example of how the size difference made it kind of challenging. Here it's showing the process of keying out the green screen behind the good Jedi. I ran into a lot of issues with the green screen down the road, and a lot of it was the grain that I didn't foresee when we filmed the video. We did shoot it with a higher quality camera than the 5D Mark II at the time. Even with that quality of camera, we still ran into some grain issues, which I think I was probably being a little picky. I don't even know if it would have mattered in the end. I ended up adding a denoiser effect that added days to the processing. It was messy. I think it ended up looking great. There are some shots that I would have removed it or lessened the effect. At the time, it seemed right. So here shows a little bit more animation of the lightsaber. Now we're doing the blue, and I'll just go ahead and fast forward because I've already explained that. Yeah, I mean, this took me a long time. It's kind of fun to watch this now. So the order that I edited this video, at the beginning, I cut the whole music video using Final Cut 7. I matched things as closely as possible. I didn't do any effects in Final Cut 7. I just lined up the music like a normal music video. I brought the XML of the Cello Wars music video into After Effects using a script. Then I went through and edited all the lightsabers. And then I did effects all the way through. And then I went and matched sizes to make sure both Steves were equal in each shot. And then I did the 3D effects and the background. And here you see a little example of the original background that I created. This is the floor that ended up in the end, but the background was obviously super simple. I was trying to keep processing down, and I saved making the final background till the end because that added 3 days to the render. It was kind of fun. This is the original background assembly that I had planned. Obviously, we'd gone through several drafts of that. So that was the overall process. That's the way I should have done everything. And I eventually did do that. But at first, I did everything at once, and it was really messy and it was really confusing. The background was one of the easier changes to make, but it added the most processing time because of how I made it. Again, I probably would have done it a little bit differently now, knowing After Effects a little bit more, but at the time I was doing everything off of tutorials and I was just trying to figure it out. So anyways, Here it shows me trying to match the two Jedis together. You can see the left Jedi was a little bit smaller than the right, and so trying to match the two was a little bit challenging. It was a lot of trial and error. A short explanation about After Effects: it's kind of like editing a bunch of pieces of paper in a 3D space. You're not working with true 3D layers, you're manipulating flat layers in a 3D plane. Sometimes getting the perspectives right was a little challenging. Here you can see I'm moving the Jedis around just to try and get them in their right position. This took a lot of time, just trying to match one shot from the other and trying to make it so it looked as real as possible. So here you can see me adjusting the camera position and the Jedi position, trying to get the video to look right. A lot of what saved me in this video was the motion blur. Turning on the motion blur, it hid a lot of errors that I wasn't able to hide any other way. When I was panning from one Jedi to the other using an After Effects pan, it ended up looking a lot more real because of that motion blur. It helped so much, but again, the motion blur added probably another day to the final render. Changing the perspective of the camera in this video was another major challenge that I had to face. And remember when I told you when we shot the good Jedi to when we shot the bad Jedi, it was nearly an 8 to 9 hour gap. I had to remember the positioning of the over the shoulder shot. This shot right here, I shot the good Jedi over his shoulder, and then 9 hours later, I shot the bad Jedi looking at him. So that was tricky in post-production, but I was able to nudge the Jedis around until it looked close enough. It wasn't perfect, but it ended up being close enough that it worked. In the green screen room, we really didn't change the angle of the camera a lot. I ended up moving Steve around and changing the position of him instead of the camera because we didn't have a super ginormous 360-degree green screen. It was a semi-flat green screen. It did have a little curve to it, but I wasn't able to move the camera around. I had to move Steve around. I think that covers everything I wanted to talk about this. If there's anything you guys wanted to know more about, feel free to ask me in the comments below. So I'll end here with the time lapse of the entire 5 hours. I wish I had done a time lapse of the entire thing, but that would have been a lot of screen recording, and already I believe the screen recording was taking up a lot of my processing time. Anyways, I hope this was fun for you. It was fun for me. It was really cool to go back and find this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.